Well, I have exciting news for you. We have the amazing Dr. John Gray back with us today for another episode. I'm so thrilled. We're going to be talking about Beyond Mars and Venus. And he's just so full of information. I can't wait to share more with you. But let me first just welcome our wonderful guest, John. So good to have you back with us.
Happy to be with you too.
So good, so good. So, I wanted to share something. I mean, everybody knows, at least I think pretty much everybody knows, that you've written so many books. And the one that most people are aware of was the biggest selling book of the decade. Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus. People still talk about it. They still read it. They still go, you got to read this. And so that's such a common-ish thing that people know, but they may not know that you are a celibate monk devoted to enlightenment practices for 9 years, which I didn't know that. And you came out into the world after 9 years, got married, started a family, and that you attribute a lot of your success for your books and your seminars to the daily practice of meditation and energy practices, and that it's evolved over the years, and that you incorporate all this in supporting the work that you do, and you bring that out into your life. It enhances your life in so many ways. And I just wanted to bring that piece here because you're not just a guy that writes a lot of books and knows a lot about hormones. However, that's a piece I thought people should know. With that said, Beyond Mars and Venus, what else do we need to know that you didn't cover in that first book around this precious stage of life, around hormones and attraction? Because we want to know.
Well, the world has changed. Men and women are still men. Women are still women. There hasn't been a lot of change there. This took thousands of millions of years for us to develop our brains and our middle brains, our primitive brains, our biology. And what Men Are from Mars described is a lot of misunderstandings that women have about men and men have about women because we're not the same. So it's easy to misinterpret each other.
Yeah.
Things, and we have a more positive way of interpreting reactions, and we have more positive feelings in our relationships.
Yeah.
So then as we progressed from the 80s, when I started teaching those ideas, wrote that book around 1990, things have changed a lot, which is that people who would read that book, and even today, if you're married to your husband and you have children, and he is primarily supporting you financially with your young children, you'll relate to everything in that book. Okay, so that
makes sense. Yep.
I remember when I was writing that book, there was a great TV show called The 30-somethings. And it was like all the things my wife and I were going to in our 30s.
I loved that series. I remember when it went off the air, my heart broke because I was in it, and you're learning, you're seeing all the drama and you're seeing all the interactions about relationships. And that is a different stage of life.
It's a different stage of life. And it was a different time where men were primary providers and women had children. So a lot of their energy went to raising their kids. Now, today,
right.
Whether you have kids or not, whatever, even if you do have kids, usually it's two people going to work to earn money to come home. If you're single, you're a woman, you're going to work and you're coming home, and there's nobody there. And there's a lot of single people today. And even if you're married, you're kind of like single because you're all day, you're at work. And it's not like I come back to connect with my female side through my wife. She's on her male side. Okay, so there's a way of understanding our male and female sides. And I didn't really talk about that male side, female side when I wrote Men Are from Mars. It was just enough to describe things how ways men misinterpret women, women misinterpret men. For those who haven't read that book, a few of those ideas, which became really in every sitcom, it's everywhere. But even when I was in Hollywood talking with I was at Disneyland, I was getting a VIP tour, and I remember there was a TV show called Home Improvement, which was really funny.
Yes.
Understanding. And I met the guy in the show, and he said, "Oh yeah, you wrote that book." And he actually showed me, here's what they give us before every show with yellow underlines of my book. They cut out some pages and show
Oh,
up
wow.
just to get a sense. It's been throughout. And I feel so proud of that. I'm happy it's out there.
Yeah.
But things are changed now. And a lot of those ideas, if you just said them, they kind of sound sexist to people today. Just even
Yeah.
men and women are different is what? How can you say we're different? You know, that's a sexist thing to say. It's not sexist, it's just truth. And
Right.
so one of the things that women don't understand about men, when men are more masculine and women are more feminine, because see now, if you look at the hormone of masculinity, we'll put it this way, testosterone. If a man is making testosterone, his male qualities come out, which are independence. If a woman is making a lot of testosterone, her male qualities coming out, which is independence. I can do it myself. I can do it myself. I have to do it myself. I set a goal and I have to do that. And that makes you feel powerful. It makes money, but also can build self-esteem. But it makes male hormones. There's female hormones happen when you feel dependent on someone and get it. Not neediness, but like I depend on you to interview me. I depend on food to feed me. I depend on money to pay my bills. I depend on my assistant to schedule these things. We all have healthy dependence. And then there's romantic dependence, where you look to a man to stimulate your romantic hormones, which tends to be you only have romantic feelings towards a man when your estrogen levels double. Okay. And already, just to be a happy woman, if you look at a woman who's stress-free, but she's not producing stress hormones, her estrogen levels will be 10 times that of a man's. And a man's testosterone levels will be 10 times higher than a woman's. Now, women make testosterone. They make a lot of testosterone, but compared
Right.
to a man, if I'm feeling romantically attracted to my wife, I've got 20 times more testosterone than her. So that's a polarity. It's a male energy and a female energy. And if she's anchored in her female energy, her estrogen levels to have an orgasm, for example, a woman's estrogen has to be 20 times higher than an average man. It has to double, 10 times higher to be happy, 20 times higher. It has to double to 20 times higher than a man in order to have that most fulfilling experience where a man's doing you and it feels fantastic. Okay.
As you're talking, I'm like, this is the perfect hormone replacement therapy is to get into a romantic relationship, because women are suffering so much with low estrogen, and you suddenly are having all this romance. And what I'm hearing, please correct me if I'm wrong, that when you start to feel that connection and that love, that the estrogen is going to go up.
Yes. And so what I did in Men Are From Mars, not knowing I was talking about testosterone, estrogen, I was saying, hey, men, back in those days, women would complain, men don't listen. They don't listen. So I taught men how to listen. Now, it turns out that when you listen to a woman without interrupting her, you don't say, we'll get to what's the point? He wants the point. When you do that, she's not making estrogen. If you
Boom.
say,
shut down.
exactly. And if you tell her, well, don't worry about that, or that's ridiculous, or he makes a joke, or he interrupts you with, you should do this, you shouldn't worry about that. Well, or you argue with her, well, that's not really what's going on, you're just overreacting to the situation. Any of those comments, men don't do them maliciously. They just don't understand women. Yeah. It's, for me as a man, because I'm not on my female side. Now, a lot of men now are conditioned by our society to produce more estrogen, but I got way on my testosterone side. I'm in my 70s. My testosterone's 50% higher than when I was a young man. Okay, but when I'm with my wife in bed, my estrogen shoots up along with my testosterone. When I'm with my grandchildren, particularly the young ones, my estrogen shoots up, and afterwards I need to take a big nap.
well, wait a second. You just said I get the grandkids thing, but you're saying when you're in bed, yes, you said first of all, your testosterone being so much higher. That's amazing. Yeah. That's a testament to what's going on there. And I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It's just understanding the male-female relationship, because anytime I'm successful in raising my wife's estrogen, her fulfillment, my testosterone goes up.
Okay, because I thought I heard you say when you were in bed that your estrogen also went up. Did you say that?
Yes, it also goes up. See, that's love. Whenever you love, it's estrogen. That's like your grandchildren. All you have is love for them. Estrogen goes up. Your wife, you love her, your estrogen goes up. But if your testosterone's not high, then you end up with high estrogen. I love you so much, but I've got no motivation. Okay. Okay, my masculinity is weak. And if you look biologically, there's a thing called fight or flight. fight or flight. That only happens in men when their estrogen is high and their testosterone is low. That's a cortisol. So if a man, you can measure this. A man's cortisol level goes up, his estrogen's going up, his testosterone's going down. But for me, good communication skills, loving relationship, my wife's happy with me, basically, that keeps my testosterone up.
It's a good thing, Johnny.
A good thing. But I'm also in bed with her and I'm hugging her, kissing, we're cuddling.
Mm.
Now my estrogen is going to go up along with my testosterone. It's anchored there. So what happens, that creates erection. So for men to get erection, they have to have testosterone along with estrogen. If you look at a psychopath man can't have an erection. That's one of their problems. Okay. Besides they're awful people and they have no empathy. They're all fake. And the empathy is our female side. It's estrogen. And so they can't have erections. The only way they can actually feel anything is to hurt people or feel better than people and so forth. So that's a dark side of all this. Well, too much on that. But it's why men get turned on when a woman is vulnerable. In the beginning, it's her vulnerability is to undress. Okay, I'm seeing what nobody else sees. It makes me feel special. She's sharing that with me. I'm connecting with her. See, it's her. So I'm seeing her. So my own female feelings start to come up. And that's called love and affection and warmth and romance. So we men are completely dependent on women to have those feelings. And this is what women don't understand is that men are just, from a woman's point of view, kind of shut down all the time. Okay, we're a bit numb. And particularly when you're married, a woman has the contrast that when he's being romantic, he's feeling all this love. But if I'm suddenly shifting over here, worrying about bills or solving a problem at work or on my computer doing something, there's no emotion, there's no feeling. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with him. He's just on the left side of his brain. He's just doing something that's raising testosterone. Or let's say you're having a conversation and he feels in some way criticized, judged, or put down in any way. So what'll happen is his estrogen will go up. He'll feel defensive. When he feels defensive, if he talks, he'll become more defensive. If women talk, they'll become less defensive if you listen. Because women, when it comes to estrogen, remember, estrogen goes up in a woman, she feels better. So talk therapy is so good for women, not always good for men. It's talk and analyze, have conversations. But if a man's a little upset, a little stressed, he needs to be quiet. And it's usually at those times when he's a little stressed, he'll detach. Because detachment is really important. That was the whole goal of meditation for men for thousands of years, is step out of your emotions because you lose control when you're in your emotions. And anytime a man has negative emotions, his estrogen's too high, his testosterone's too low. If he has positive emotions, love, happiness, joy, motivation, compassion, all that is high testosterone and rising estrogen to balance. So
I love this. This is so great. And this is like such a zooming in on why there is such a struggle in relationships and being able to be heard, being able to have the chemistry to actually support the relationship. My question I would love to explore with you, if you don't mind, is the women that are listening right now might be just starting to date, or maybe they're just starting to get into a relationship where they may not be able to feel safe and open and vulnerable to get that testosterone or, estrogen rising in him. Like, what might you offer to the newbies that are like, well, I want that connection. I want to be able to have all the hormonal balance and that intimacy, but I'm not ready to get naked and I'm not ready to let it loose just yet emotionally. What would you say about that?
Absolutely.
Quick interruption, and then we'll get right back to the show. There is something time sensitive. There is a contest going on, and there's one lucky prize winner to win the Relationship Toolkit program. This is a 5-week program with me guiding you to help you really stand your ground and have healthy boundaries, to be able to speak your truth and trust your gut, to have good, solid self-esteem, and to learn what the healthy relationship that you desire looks like. You learn to rewrite your love story and so much more. So there'll be one winner. There's some really juicy second place prizes as well. So you're going to want to click the link in the show notes for enter the contest. And be sure to put your correct email address and your phone number so I can reach out to you and let you know if you're the winner. Good luck.
Absolutely. I remember one woman saying, "Oh, I have to get naked again in front of another man." It was kind of like, that's not the only way to be vulnerable. What femininity, one aspect of deep intimacy is vulnerability, but you don't have that safety, and you don't have the desire to even be that when somebody's whatever. If you're healthy, I mean, some women just want to start with that. It's because they have very low self-esteem. Okay? It's just, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win this guy over. I'm going to go after this guy. I'm going to get him. Because, a teenager, you give him a naked woman, he wants to have sex with you. He has no maturity at all. So, and same thing for the woman who just wants to give it away right away. She didn't have maturity. She didn't have self-esteem. And women kind of wake up to this. They're pressured to be that way when they're younger by society. You're a prude if you don't want to have sex right away. What's your problem? All that. But you kind of grow up and say, wait a second, I'm in charge of me now. And I'm not just going to get naked with anybody. Okay. And so, all right. So how to be vulnerable, what to do when you're dating, you're a single woman, and you're not a young teenager, you're not in your 20s, you're beyond that. Your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever you are on that spectrum. To be vulnerable means to allow a man to do something for you. That's it. That's what dating is. So when you're out there dating, the first step is to not be hunting for the right man. Already you're on your male side. Whenever you're trying to achieve a goal, you're on your male side. I got to interview him to see if it's worth my time. Okay, I've got no time here. I got to rush. That already is a stress.
Yeah.
Okay. So the point of it, our point of our femininity is happiness and love, and that's our female side. So here I'm happy talking to you. That's my female side, but also doing my thing. I do what I have to do to solve a problem. So I have my male competence and I have my female joy. So that's a balance of those two things. But when you're a single woman and you're earning money to support yourself, you're primarily making testosterone. You do have the sense of, I've got my friends, maybe if you're spiritual, I've got God, I've got my cat or my dog, there's your children or your grandchildren, whatever it might be. So these are places where you can nourish your female side for sure. But with a man, you kind of go, well, I want that because that will raise your estrogen to the highest levels. Even after menopause, it doesn't go as high, but it doesn't have to be as high for you to have romantic feelings, just that it's higher than your testosterone in terms of the balance. It's all about just balance over and over. So the first thing is stop looking for the right man and be open to the right man finding you. And this would be a man who's more interested in you than you're interested in him. Okay, so that's the first step. If you're pursuing a man that you don't even know and you imagine, oh, it'll be so great, that's your male side. So come to your female side. So your goal, I mean, you do have a goal, but it's not my goal is not to find the right person. My goal is to have a positive dating experience. That's the first thing.
Right.
You want to stay out of fight or flight. You want to feel relaxed. If you were to visit my house, you'd be relaxed. Oh, what a beautiful home you have. If you were to buy my house, you'd literally hire somebody to look at the plumbing and look at the air conditioning, look at all these things to see what's wrong with it. When you're looking for the right person, your brain goes into a bias towards looking at negativity and your estrogen doesn't come up. Okay, so you're not going to feel at ease and comfortable and have a good time. So just start having be open to what you can get when somebody's coming after you. That's the first step. If ever you're pursuing a guy, he'll go to his female side and his best side won't show up. If you're pursuing a guy, you'll have a bias to be critical and you won't enjoy it. You'll always be thinking, oh, he's not good enough. Oh, he's not good enough. Oh, I deserve better. That's that bias in there, as opposed to, well, let me go on a date. Let me practice my new feminine skills, which is having the date be all for me. All for me. Today for me. Today for me. Tomorrow.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh my God, everybody listen to what he just said, to go into that date, to be open to that date. And it's for you. It's not for your agenda. It's not for looking at the list of, does he have this? Does he have this? Like, to go and actually enjoy yourself, which allows you to have more estrogen and be, I assume, more attractive to the man because you're in your radiance.
Yes. So whether this is the whole key, is do what you like. See, men become weak when they do what they like. I can have some doing what I like, but I have to mainly do what I have to do. That's masculine. And then I get my little vacations. Okay, I do what I have to do, then I can do what I like. For women, they're over there doing what they have to do. You're on your male side. You need to be more of what you like to do, what you get to do. And when it comes to estrogen, have somebody do for you. Okay, so that's the whole thing. And so women will start to feel, well, it's unfair if I just have the date for me, if it's all for me. I go, no, it's not unfair. All men want is to have the experience of providing something that makes a woman happier. That's it.
Right. They want to see that smile. They want to see that you're in your joy. That is the fun of it. And that makes them feel good. But the women have to trust that and know that. And that's the inner work. They have to do that. Some of that releasing of I've got to be careful versus that's why I'm a shadow worker. It's like, let's move that stuff out of the way so that you can actually go and enjoy. Can you receive? But a lot of women have been trained, I've got to be on top of things. And, the negative bias that you're talking about, it's all something that we have to be mindful of.
Now, the shadow work is very important therapy to go inside. And I also do that with people. I think it's so important. But right away on the surface, there's just a little piece of information that can make it so much easier to receive on a date. Just knowing that men are different.
Yeah.
Okay. Men want to make you happy. And I'll back this up with first a study. They found that men's happiness hormones increase after 3 minutes in being in the presence of a happy woman.
Wow.
Literally, we don't have access to that estrogen that we'll feel along with, I did something to make her happy. I did something, raises his testosterone. And because he did something for a woman, his estrogen levels can rise as well without being overshadowing him. So this is a gift. You're giving him a gift. So, the whole thing is women are taught, everybody's taught, if you give, giving is better than receiving. So, but why do women feel so burnt out giving all the time? Because what you need with a man, you find a man who the situation is, rather than give for him, give him the opportunity to give to you. And that's what dating is. It's the opportunity for a man to give to you. It's an opportunity for you to go into your receptive side. It's for me, it's for me, it's for me, which means don't pay for the meal. It's for you. And that, see, women are they have a reciprocity gene that men don't have so much, which is, if you give to me, I have to give to you. What am I giving to you? So now you know what you're giving. By allowing a man to do things for you, you're giving him the opportunity to have an experience of giving to a woman who appreciates what he provides.
I love it. I love it. So I'm curious, we're talking about open, we're talking about, when we're feeling the romance and the love and the estrogen, and is there anything a woman can do for the sal before a date or before that call that helps them relax and increase estrogen on their own without having that connection?
Sure. And I do give long lists and processes and so forth, but I'm thinking of
Oh, that's great.
The most powerful thing a woman can do is journaling. And when you journal in a system. Okay, now this system I've written in all my books, always towards the back, has this technique, okay, which is how to process the emotions that you feel. Because the more independent you are, the less in touch you are with your emotions and being able to articulate them. You typically, if you are in touch with your emotions, you'll be in touch with one or maybe two. But those are just the emotions that are covering up the others. For example, if you're angry at men, you're really afraid that men won't love you. If you're feeling anxious around men or feeling anxious in your life, you're not feeling powerful. And there's a part of you that has suppressed anger. So there's an art to, if you're feeling guilty, feel bad, I blew it, I made a mistake or whatever. You're also feeling sad that you don't have what you need right now. So guilt looks to the back, regret to the back. Sadness is actually looking at what I don't have now or in the future. Like I don't get to be loved. I don't get to have this, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we want that. What I found, there's 4 powerful, the most powerful through communication and journaling. You'll raise your estrogen if you do this little procedure, which is writing out, okay, I'm frustrated about what or angry about what, and just give yourself permission to be an angry, frustrated person. For some people, that's very hard. For others, it's easier, but just take a few minutes writing out that, things that you don't like, things you hate, nobody's going to see it. You're just letting it, it's just shadow work that you do with people. It's just writing out what you don't normally share with people to get accustomed to that part of you. It is a part of you. The way the brain is designed, the left part of the brain is designed to see the positive. The right up here is designed to see the negative. You can't have evolution and progress if you don't see problems and then bring in the light. So start with the problem. So it's frustration or anger, then it turns into disappointment or sadness, because you can't be frustrated or angry unless you're also disappointed. Things didn't go your way. And then you feel more vulnerable with sadness, right? I feel sad that. And people think, oh, I don't want to go there. No, you need to go there, because every time you feel an emotion that's negative and you're listening to yourself, your estrogen will go higher. So just think about it. This is just an estrogen thing. And then now you go into underneath sadness. You only can feel sad if you feel that your future is not so bright. It's always about the future. So what am I afraid of? Okay, so I'm afraid I'll never meet a man. I'm getting too old. I'm not as pretty as I want. Older men, they just want younger women. What am I ever going to get? All the good ones are taken. Even though you might have done this, you've gone through this story over and over. If you're feeling any sort of stuckness on your male side, it's hard to feel loving and happy and soulful, then you write out the obstacles to feeling that, which is the writing out the anger, the sadness, the fear. Then you look at what my regrets are. I feel sorry I didn't do this. I couldn't do that. It could be about today. It could be about the past. Give yourself just 10 minutes to write out those few minutes with each. Then you write out what I wish. Oh, I wish that, I'd done this, or I wish this could have happened. I wish I can do this tomorrow, whatever it is. I wish brings out certain feelings, what I want. And then you write out a little bit what you want, and then write out what I need most is I want to feel loved. I want to feel I'm supported, I'm cared for, that I have fun in my life, whatever I'm needing. So just a few minutes, it's dipping into like getting a massage on your arm, and then your other arm, and then your neck muscles. We're doing a whole inventory very quickly. You can do this, of the negative emotions, the wishes, the wants, and the needs, and grateful for. And then just start writing out, I'm grateful for, and I'm happy that, and I'm confident that, and I'm proud that. Okay, now you're in your positive feelings. So that's all vulnerable. I'm proud of myself. I feel grateful. I'm happy. Or you can go into, I love that. That's a really vulnerable thing to share. I love that. Wow, those are such great things to do. That's called processing your emotions. Whenever you process emotions, estrogen levels will go up. And I also feel that we're always driven by our souls. The soul is trying to get us in line, in balance, and in harmony. And so your soul will naturally make you attracted to situations to force you to feel those feelings. Instead, you start listening to them, and then you don't need such big things to trigger it.
Exactly. If we want more peace and we want more love, we really need to listen. And what I love about that exercise, and I'll make sure I put the link to your book and your website in the show notes, is that you're inviting people to slow down and really connect with themselves, because so often people are just going, especially women. They're just juggling a million things. And if there's any time at the end of the day, but to be able to tune in with what their feelings are, to like really connect with their hearts and to unpack it, and then and not to just spew all that I'm angry about this or I'm guilty about this, but to actually let it loose, see what's there, unpack it, and then move up the ladder to that place of gratitude. I could only, that's such wise words. Absolutely.
And the key to this is intention. And that when you're writing out your negative emotions, your intention is just to be aware of that which is holding you back from feeling the positive. So if you're just wanting to be a victim and talk about how bad your life is, it doesn't work. And here's the rub, which is complaining does produce a burst of estrogen, but it goes away right afterwards because you didn't come back to love and safety and appreciation and gratitude. So it's a process with intent to come back to my happy self. And if you're just sharing, and this is a problem women get caught up into, because just talking about problems can raise your estrogen, but only temporarily. It's the same thing for men. Doing porn is an addiction that men have, can give you a surge of testosterone only to leave you with more estrogen afterwards. It just throws you out of balance, but it feels good short term. Just like eating a bowl of ice cream.
In the moment. Yeah. I love that you brought this up too, because so often, and it's kind of how we've been indoctrinated, to bitch and moan to your friends. It's like, I can't believe, and I can't believe, and I can't believe. And to have that catharsis and to have somebody go, oh, you poor thing, you poor thing. We stay in the pain and the challenge, but we never get to the other side of it. And I always say, look at who's surrounding you and who can hold the space for you and also hold the shift for you. Because if we're just going into the negativity and the complaining, we're just drilling in those neural pathways. And to your point, we're not going to feel so great.
And it becomes addictive. And it actually, they've done MRI scans of people who can't get out of grieving. And it's like taking cocaine, literally the same thing. So, and support of what you said, everything you say is so brilliant. We're so aligned.
Thank you.
Bonnie, I say, she's in a women's group. And so, she says, but I only share my complaints about you with people that hold you in high esteem. Okay. So they're not going to reinforce, he shouldn't do that, or you're not doing that. They admire me. So she has women, like you said, the people around you, they hold you to, hey, and the other side of it is this. And the positivity exists along with the negativity. And it's like the darkness, turn on the light switch and the darkness is gone. But you have to first notice it's dark and then the light comes in.
Exactly. And to me, everything you've just shared in this episode is a blueprint to happiness. It's a blueprint to connection. And whether you have a partner or not, like these are things that we can do for ourselves that not only will bring us joy, it will allow us to shine our light, which of course, as you say, if we're smiling, it's going to pull in people. And if we really want to have that deep connection with a partner, we want to enjoy it. Of course, why wouldn't we? And yet you're right. You're absolutely right. All the science right now is showing that we are addicted to these old patterns, all the neuroscience. So I'm thrilled that you've shared some really golden nuggets on this topic. Anything else you want to talk about in reference to beyond Mars and Venus? I mean, I know we can talk for hours, but is there anything else you wanted to add in here?
I just want people to know that that's a resource available to you. And also Mars, Venus on a date, a lot of single women, there's a lot of things you would normally do on a date that actually just push you into your male side. We talked about one of them, which is looking for the right person. Another one is interviewing to see if they're the right person instead of having a good time.
Yeah.
Another one we covered, which is make sure it's about you. So a man will often say, what would you like? And women will often go, what would you like to do? And then do what he likes to do. No people pleasing, no altering what you think or feel to win his approval, but no trying to, argue with them. I mean, we don't like, sometimes in the name of authenticity, women just feel like, well, that's a stupid idea. Why would you think that? And they get upset with you. That's not going to work either. Have a fun time. Don't take it so seriously. But make sure that you share your authentic truth. For example, if you're on a date and you start talking about politics and you're going to vote for Trump, say, I'm voting for Trump. And he say, oh, why are you voting for Trump? How could you vote for Trump? And I say, well, I like this and I like this. I don't like the guy, but I like that, he's no lockdowns with Trump. I would prefer that. Whatever it is, you give your point and create the space for the other person to have their point of view. And you can then say something with men, which is rather than ever try to argue, you just, particularly in dating, you just say, well, that's interesting. Or that makes sense to me. Or I see your point of view there. I have a different point of view on that, and then change the subject to something else. But authenticity makes you so much more beautiful, much more attractive, that I feel safe and comfortable to express my point of view and know that differences is actually what creates connection. It's attraction. If we're all just the same, there's not going to be that magnetic attraction.
Boring. And what's really beautiful, is that curiosity. Like if we can relax and be curious about someone else's point of view, you suddenly are in a very different realm, because then you get to understand where they're coming from, their point of view. And you also get to decide, is this somebody you really want to be with? Are they aggressive when you say, oh, why are you voting for Trump? Well, anybody that's blah, 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 like you get to see their true colors because you're curious and open versus shutting it down or being aggressive yourself. So all of this is connection.
But one of the things as well in that book, Women Will Learn, is they tend to ask too many questions on a date. Well, the curiosity is really good. You want him to be curious about you as well.
I know I'm bad at that. I have to keep working on that. I'm always like, come on, stop it.
Basically, if you ask a lot of questions, men will talk a lot. We don't have this little button inside that says, you ask me a question, and my job is to ask you a question. You know, it's like
Yeah.
people say all the time to me, "How are you?" And I say, "Good." There's not a button that says, "And how are you?" It just doesn't come out, and that's a lot of men are that way. Doesn't mean we're selfish. Doesn't mean we're narcissistic. It just means that we're wanting to please you. You ask me a question, I'll answer it. You know.
Yes. Yes.
Another question, and when women will ask questions, thinking that if you're with a woman, you ask her a lot of questions, she'll feel guilty if she doesn't ask questions back. But men generally don't.
And so we're learning. Everybody take a breath into that. We're all learning. We're learning from each other. We're learning from Dr. John Gray, and to stay open to the new stuff, that there are new ways to connect with people. And and one thing I always encourage my clients when they're on dates and they're like, "Oh my God, he wouldn't stop talking. He wouldn't stop talking." I do say, "Well, did you keep asking questions?" But the other thing I say is, well, they're like, "Well, how do you change it? How do you get to start talking yourself?" And I say, just interject something that they said. Just say, you were just saying something about your son. Oh my God, the same thing happened to me. You don't have to wait for them to ask the question. This is called conversation.
And again, another what you did is a perfect transition. Another transition is just simply that makes sense, and then just start talking.
Take it away.
He's a subject. He doesn't know anything that's going on. Men do not analyze in depth like women do. It's like, oh, when can I start talking? We just talk. So
we are different. Oh, John, thank you so much for your time. This has just been full of golden nuggets as always. I will make sure all the links are in the show notes. Such a blessing. And anybody that's loved this as much as I did, please like it, share it, subscribe to the station. There's more coming. And thank you, John. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.